Greetings and welcome to another Dangerous Monday with me, Selezen. Hello, how is everybody doing? I hope you can hear me okay. I've been fiddling about with some stuff in the office to try and make things a little bit more user-friendly, or viewer-friendly, is perhaps a better way of putting it. Essentially, I've been mucking about with the audio setup and the computer setup to try and make things a little bit less noisy in the background, and make the connection a bit more stable, and make everything work properly. A little bit quieter. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing sort of myself there as well. So I'm going to be mucking about with the gain. So I'm going to boost that up to 3, I think. Let's do that. So yeah, I've boosted the gain up a little bit because the microphone is further away and has a shield round it. But you should notice that the background noise is a lot less than it was as well. So we should have a clearer stream, much friendlier, I'm hoping, and hopefully a bit more responsive to the old voice attack as well. So I'm just going to boost that gain up a little bit more. I think I might put it up to 6. Let's try 6. See how that goes. That's looking like it's getting actually more up to the levels where it was. I just don't want it to be clipping or doing anything a bit weird in the background. But we'll see. We'll see. That looks like it should be loud enough now. No doubt. Someone is broadcasting from the bog. What? God, you people.
Targeting. Retracting armaments.
Is it thingy? Is it quiet? Is it echoey? Because the thing is, I mean, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sure the volume's quieter, but the thing is, the room is full of shit at the minute. Not literally shit, because that brings it back onto being the bog. But yeah, the room is full of stuff at the moment. So hello, no green screen today, I'm afraid, because there is so much crap behind me. There is no space to put anything right now, because we're refurbishing the living room downstairs, and we have had to refurbish the bedroom at the same time. So most of the stuff that was in the bedroom is now behind me. I need to sort through and make sure I can clear out some of the crap that's in there. Okay, is that sounding a bit weird then? Because if it's sounding a bit weird, I'll change it. It sounds like you're on the toilet. Alright. How's that? Is that any better?
Typing mode on.
I've taken the voice shield, the windshield, off the microphone now. So hopefully that should be a little bit better. Clearer. The windshield was meant to be getting while I could get the sound sorted out.
Deploying landing gear.
Oh, shut up! A lot of stuff in there that I have no idea about. I have to read up for some of that stuff. Malik VR, thank you for the host. Got a funny feeling we're going to be finding stuff in a minute. We ain't found shit. Good evening, denizens of Malik VR. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to head off. I'm just going to start things rolling. We're going to do a bit of the old Road to Riches this evening. I'm also going to have a bit of a chat about some of the a couple of things that have gone off this week. Just as we fly, I'm not going to sort of make a big issue of it. Wow, we ain't found shit. Actually, I found out where that came from the other day. While I was watching one of Malik's streams, I actually looked up where it all comes from. But yeah, that's just me being nerdy. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Yes, I have. I found Jameson. Am I from Newcastle? No, I'm not from Newcastle, Greenskeeper. No, I'm not from Newcastle. Nowhere near. Well, kind of near because it's kind of
Accessing database. Jazz?
honorary
A
Scotland.
natural satellite
Shut up.
or moon is a celestial
Shut up.
body that orbits.
Nerdy. Yeah, it's got an R in it. So, okay. What's planet 1A then? Got the wrong mouse in my hand. Hang on a sec. Irish. Okay, closer in an extent. Planet 1A of what? Thank you for the follow, Paul BM. You're a brave man. Did I lock that one? I think so. Okie dokie. Raise landing gear.
Landing gear up.
No, I didn't. I didn't go to 12099. I did planet 1B, I didn't go to planet 1A. Thank you for the host, Pale Gringo. Just a lot more hull stressing noises coming on there. Greenskeeper, thank you for the follow. No, I'm definitely GB, but I'm not England, so you're right in one aspect. Although I have lived in England now for about 20 odd years, so I have my accent slightly corrupted. So I'm not going to tell you, let's just see if you can work it out. Engage Super Cruise.
Engaging cruise.
I have, yes. Colin? No, I'm not Welsh. Not Welsh either, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. I'm not Irish either. Oh, I think people are taking the piss. I do. Night Bites, thank you for the follow. Right, so what are we doing today? While all these people try and work out where the hell I'm from. Or just basically take the piss, which is what I think they're doing.
Helm.
Yeah, so the plan is do a bit of Road to Riches basically tonight. Nothing exciting, I'm afraid, just a bit of relaxing exploration with some groovy tunes in the background. Bit more for a change, that'd be nice. Supposed to be able to recognise the English dialects. I'm not English, Revolution. I am not English. That's a big clue for you right there. I now live in England, but I'm not actually English. Panic Switchy, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, sir. Or lady. I've got lots of followers today. Caraxus, thank you for the follow. How are you doing? How are you all? How are you all doing? The thing is, Greenskeeper, that this country, or this nation of countries, yay! Well done, Greenskeeper. You got there. I think that was more of a process of elimination than anything else, because you said every other British country. God, dear me. Before you got to me. I am for the old Scotland. I'm East Coast Scotland, so it's. I think that's one of the things about being Scottish that's different is the East Coast dialects and accents are a little more anglicised than the West Coast, because Glasgow's very Scottish. Got a really Scottish accent if you're for the West Coast, like, because you've got a very, very harsh intonation, and you never really lose that. Colin there, the Phoenix Defier, he's kind of sort of the middle. But you go across the East Coast and it's all kind of you talk really quick and it's like you kind of been barred that wee bit, but it's not as bad as when you're across in the West side. So for on the West side, it's really quite difficult to work out what people are saying. But if you go as far up as Aberdeen's quite difficult to understand because they talk even quicker and they've got their own dialect as well. So. Sorry, that was me going back into what I actually talk like. I don't do that very often because no one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm a fifer, aye. You know what they say before the bridges were built? No, I don't actually. It's not. Well, it's watered down now. It's watered down now because I've been doing here that long. It's difficult to try and keep it when you have to talk normal, like your English folk. You have to talk like them. When you have to talk like that, it's difficult because nobody can know what the hell you're talking about. You get on a bus and you say, "Can you do city centre, please?" And they go, "What? Pardon?" Or, "Excuse me, I don't know what you're talking about." Or in the case of Derby, "Huh?" Yeah, because Derby, the East Midlands aren't exactly the brightest places in the world. Shoe paste! That's a cool name. I like that. Shoe paste. It's like toe jam. I like that. Thank you for the follow, sir. Oh, another one. Commander
Stand by
the
for
Mistral.
launch.
Thank you for the follow. Very kind of
Launch.
you. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Your Scottish accent is Glasgow Dundee. That's what I meant. That's a mix.
Acknowledged.
Am I going to actually jump at any point here? Jump.
Jumping.
Lower question, what is Zurara? Zurara, I believe, is a megaship. I think it's the megaship that kind of... I think it's the megaship that Rebecca from Drew Wagar's books was on board, or was at least involved with finding initially. It was one of the ships that was involved with Thargoid hunting and stuff like that. Again, I've always clarified that
the system if you wish.
my lore knowledge is primarily Original Elite and Frontier First Encounters, or Frontier Elite 2. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update
kind of
complete.
what goes on in Elite Dangerous itself, if I've not particularly picked it up myself, then it can be quite difficult for me to try and keep track of what's happening because there's lots going on. So, Planet 5. Open system map.
System cartography.
Come on. 5. Close system map.
Closing map.
The Zurara is, it's a megaship. And if you go there, you'll pick up some log files, some audio log files to listen to as well. I believe there's a beacon there as well, which, if I remember rightly, again this is a while ago, has the recordings from Rebecca. Now I don't know if it's still there, because I don't know if Frontier have cleaned up some of the older stuff. What was the deal with the old listening post at Polaris? I've no idea. That's one I've not heard of. Do you use EDSM plugins? Not the plugins as such. I do use some of the online references. I think EDDI has some online references and stuff. So 1 second, I'll get back to your questions. I'm just doing my mapping shenanigans. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Drive deactivated.
Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
Yes, I don't use the plugins as such. I use the websites to get information from if I'm thinking about the right ones. I don't use a lot of actual add-ons for the game. I don't. I tend to use the internet a lot for reference more than anything else. But I have, as I say, I have used them for reference to look stuff up on now and again, and to get ship stats on. So that's as far as I can say. Drawing from your depth of ED lore, how do you think the Stargate situation will play out? Oh, that's a leading question. Jump.
Preparing for jump.
That's good news, Colin. Glad to hear it. Looking forward to that. How's the Stargate situation going to play out? How do I think it will? How I would like it to are two completely different things, because there are a couple. This is actually one of the things I was going to touch on in tonight's conversations anyway, so I'm going to go there initially. In terms of narrative of this Thargoid thing, it seems to be playing out a very, very strictly linear chain of events. A4, A5, so 2, 3, 4 and... no, wait a minute, B1. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Open system map.
System map.
B1. Close system map.
Closing map.
And I think basically what's happening with the Thargoid thing is they are being touted as essentially just the big bad, really. I think it's just going to be, we're going to push, the humans are going to push the Thargoids into a fight, we're going to have a fight with them, and they're going to just have combat zones, and we're going to have fights around the galaxy and so on. I don't think there's going to be much narrative bolted onto it. I do think there could be, I mean, everyone knows, or at least I think everybody knows, it's been touted on quite a lot of streams and quite a lot of websites and the forums and so on, that there's supposed to be two factions of Thargoids. See you later, Colin. Hope you manage to catch us again. We'll be on until about 10:15, half 10, roughly, then handing over to DJ Truthsayer at that point. So if you're popping on, I'll see you later. But yeah, there's supposed to be two factions of Thargoids. And all that's happening really so far is we're having some particularly boring and repetitive encounters with them, where we have the new Basilisk class ships that we're finding which are going to kick people's asses and haven't really done all that much. I mean, DJ and some other people have managed to kill them. Even Drew and his kids, Drew Wagar and his kids, who aren't the best combat pilots in the world, have managed to kill one of them. So it's just a grind to kill one from what I've seen. Knock each of its petals off or its hearts off one by one, and then you've got it down to nothing. So can't say I'm overly keen on that particular aspect of it. But there's the concept there that the Klaxians and the Restrians are going to be kicking each other's asses, or going to be having a go at each other. Now where the humans are going to fall into that, I don't know. Is it going to be something that's going to end up in a fight between the two factions? Are we going to ally ourselves with one of those factions? Because the thing I've always said is, the Thargoids that initially encountered us, or at least in this game, not counting in Elite and all that, but the Thargoids that we've first been encountering when we come across them in the USSs have been kind of non-belligerent. So we go near them, they scan us, they fly off because they don't think we're a threat or they don't care. As long as we're not carrying something that they think's valuable, like something of theirs, and it's not even something that's valuable like resources or anything like that. If we're carrying something that's theirs, like an unknown artifact or something like that, then they get a bit pissy with us, which is fair enough. But nothing really ever happens with them, and it's just a series of boring, repetitive non-encounters, and they're not putting their feet in one pool or the other as to whether the Thargoids are actually belligerent towards us or whether they're defending themselves against us. And it's ambivalent. And if we provoke them, then they will attack. If we leave them alone and watch them, they won't do anything. So what's going on? So I don't know which way they're going to jump with it. That's where I think it's going to go. Is I think it's just going to end up being a very long, drawn-out narrative where there's going to be a slow, painful increase. Escalation in the amount of conflicts that there are and the amount of things that actually happen, and I think the narrative's going to take it in a direction where one faction or the other, the Federation or the Empire or a combination of both, or Aegis, are going to provoke them to the point where they're going to attack us, and it's going to be combat from that point on, and it's just going to be combat. High predictions potentially. USSs are going to remain a thing, but they may become actual combat points at that point rather than just being encounters. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
And sadly, I think that's about it.
Far away,
as far as where it's going to go. After that point, if the other faction comes in, whichever one that might be. So who have we encountered now? We don't know. Who we're going to encounter in the future? We don't know. Because nothing's answered. We have no communications. Which makes it more difficult to try and work out what they're actually playing at. So I don't know where it's going. Didn't they originally say it would depend on how we interact with them that will decide what happens next? I've not heard them say that. Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
But if they have said that, I remain unconvinced at this point in time, because like I said, they have seemed to push the narrative along a path that hasn't been particularly player oriented, and I've seen a few things that players have done that haven't pushed things in the direction that was potentially expected. For example, again, the Sovereignty pushing Sirius out of their home system as a faction. And nothing actually. And nothing actually came from that. So Sirius was not affected. It didn't make it into Galnet. It didn't make it into the faction news broadcasts. It was a complete non-event. Other than the fact that in that game, in that instance, Sirius' asses were kicked, which actually affected that entire sector. So with that in mind, and the fact that the power play thing seems to be very slowly being pushed to one side, I don't exactly know what's going to happen. Are the players' actions actually having an effect on the galaxy? I don't know. Are the players' actions in terms of these things going to make any difference? I think the only way the players are going to have an effect on it is through community goals. So the community goals we're getting are make weapons that can destroy the Thargoids. Ally yourselves with the Empire, the Federation, or Aegis, and then you can affect the storyline in that way. And I think that's as far as it's going to go. If enough players band together and actually try to make peaceful contact with the Thargoids, it might actually become a peaceful contact situation. But we're not getting that option, and this is the problem with this narrative, because the reason I think it's straitjacketed towards going down the route that Frontier has planned as a story is that we don't have the options to do the things that we need to do to have alternatives. So we're not allowed to have the alternative ideas. The only paths that we're given to follow are the ones that Frontier are creating through community goals and their updates. We can't write to them and say, can we please have a community goal that means we put together a peaceful entity that wants to go and make contact, and can we develop some technology for us to make contact with the Thargoids? That's not happening. We don't have the option to say we want to communicate with Aegis and say we want to create a Thargoid communications device to let us talk to them and find out what it is they want. I don't know. It just seems to be railroaded down a particular path. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of option there. To answer your question directly, I don't think we're going to get to interact with them in a way that means we can do what they want, that we can do what we want to do as players. We can't do things that would have an effect. We don't have the equipment or the technology or the modules within the game to say we want to do this, and we can't suggest community goals. Stephen Curry, hello there. So that is a bit of a disappointment to me, because I was hoping when this game was described as being one where the player would be able to affect the happenings in the galaxy, it doesn't seem to have been developed along that line. We can affect things in the galaxy, but only along a very, very narrow path of potential. And this game has so much scope for creativity. We've seen that already with some of the novels that have came out, and the creative minds behind the stuff that's in the background is immense. And I'm not including myself in this. All I've done is create a framework with the RPG for people to create their own stories. But the people who have written novels in this universe, Drew obviously, Kate Russell, John Harper, everyone who did the other books, T. James especially, because he's done quite a lot of Thargoid narrative, have created amazingly deep and thought-provoking narratives within their books that would benefit greatly from being thrown into this game, and people can follow them through. I mean, look where Drew's book went in terms of reclamation, pushing off that character Salome's arc with the children of Raxla, and then that in itself developed into Premonition, which finished off her story but created a whole different story in the background, and that's pushing at least the start of the Thargoid narrative. But at this point, obviously Drew's input into that side of it has now stopped, so we're now in the hands of Frontier fully to take that thread and develop it further. Jump.
Frameshift drive engaging.
See, I don't want to bash Frontier. Oh, nice. Who's Grok? Grok. I don't know how to pronounce that. Good. That sounds like fun. Blast some Slim Whitman into space. Oh yeah. Don't blast Slim Whitman into space. That'd be bad. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
4. Open system map.
System map.
Ares Dark Region 1 B7-1 A4, A5, A2 and A3. Huh? Huh? Close system map.
Closing map.
Scan the system.
Stand by. Scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
That's better.
Yes.
Open system map.
System cartography.
Hey Irvi, how you doing? So 2, 3, 4 and 5. So let's grab them first, because they're in a synchronous orbit. Close system map.
Closing map.
So I'll grab some fuel I think at this point. Yeah, because the big thing that seems to be going around the community at the moment is Frontier bashing. And I'll be honest, the thing is, I want to be positive about Frontier and what they're doing with the game and where they're going with it and all that kind of stuff. And I do love the game. This is the thing. I mean, I wouldn't come back and play this thing every Monday if I didn't like it to some extent. But my issue is, they've built a lovely framework. They've spent, is it nearly 5 years now, isn't it? 4 years since it was launched. They've spent that amount of time building a lovely framework, a beautiful environment, a very deep environment, at least in terms of how space actually works. Okay, everything's much the same, but then that's what space is like. Space is boring. There's not much here. You have to populate it with stuff. And this is the thing. Just creating a 400 billion star systems that you can explore is fair enough. It's a hell of an accomplishment, and it's very, very good. They've given us lovely spaceships, they've given us lovely technology to go with those spaceships. We have fighters we can launch, we have little SRVs we can drive, we can land on planets and drive around the surface, although when we get atmospheric planets I'll be a happy bunny. And when we can get out of our ship and wander about, I'll be a happy bunny as well. But until that point, we still have something that's pretty cool. However, it's now got to the point where there is a very wide demand for something to do. And the point is, and this is where I am going to get whingy, and I apologise to Frontier for this, but in order for it to actually feel like a game, there has to be something to do. And the narrative is all that's left to work with. If you're not going to let us land on planets, if you're not going to let us fly around in our spacesuits or whatever, and float about in space, or get out the ship and wander about, then you have to give us other things to do. Now, part of what has always made this series good to me is the engagement of the community and engagement of the creative juices. But we don't have anything to suck those juices from. Open system map.
System
Very well.
cartography.
I'm going on a very dodgy road for analogies there. Closed system map.
Closing map.
There is night base, yes, that's the thing. I mean, we can go exploring, like I do. We can go mining, we can go trading, we can go fighting, we can go do whatever you want to do. But, and this is where it's getting to the point where people are actually having something to complain about. The issue is that the majority of things to do in this game are grind. You have to build up money. You go, you trade, you build up money. Everything now when you're working in the core systems involves some kind of combat. Because combat now has got to the point where the NPCs or players are now potentially more than a match for you. In my opinion, at my level of playing this game, I am not a great combat pilot. I am not a brilliant combat pilot at all. I want to stay in the safe systems and trade, but you can't do that. Elite's balance was that if you went to a corporate state system and if you stayed within the safe systems and traded, you could trade without having to worry really about being attacked. Once in a blue moon you would get some kind of attack happening. The problem now with this game is that you can't stay safe. You can't remain in a safe system. The trade model is far, far wider than it was. So you have more risk, and you have more risk within a corporate state system of a very, very tough pirate coming at you and kicking your ass. So in terms of risk factor, there is a high risk factor for pretty much any action now. Well, in my experience, Nightbites, I've tried safe trading in the core systems way back when, and I had my ass kicked in a corporate, well, in a safe system. Open system map. Open system map.
System map.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
Oh, everything's really close together in this game. In this system, sorry. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Closed galaxy map.
Closing map.
Just update my stuff. Well, you see, Nightbites, that's fine. I mean, your experience has been more positive than mine then. I mean, I stopped playing in open because of the fact players were just ganking me the entire time that I was walking about. I've stopped doing... I went off to do exploration because I was fed up with the fact that I was getting my ass kicked when I was in safe systems. I was having elite people coming at me in safe systems, and I had absolutely no chance. I was flying about with no cargo and being attacked just because I was in that space. So, I don't know. Each person to their own, I suppose. And Power Play came in and completely bollocks up the entire system. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Closed system map.
System cartography.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
Jump.
Engaging jump drive.
7 and 8. Yeah, but again, it was grind. I mean, anytime something's added to the game, it's grind. It's always the same. You need to get X amount of this stuff to achieve this goal. It's all the same. So, are you really expanding the game by adding the same mechanic, or adding different things to do with the same mechanic? No, you're not. You're just given another thing to do. I know in terms of some of the gameplay, it's a multiplayer RPG.
I can scan the system if you wish.
DJ Truthsayer, thank you for the subscription, dude. Oh, Jason G, thank you very much for gifting a subscription to DJ to this channel. That's the reciprocation, because the same guy gifted me a subscription to DJ, which is very fair of him. Scan the system. Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Open system map.
System map.
7 and 8. We're going to assume that's them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Good. Close system map.
Closing map.
So yeah, I mean the game is very much grind. Power Play was grind, Engineers are grind, Guardians isn't so bad because Guardians is more about exploration. The narrative stuff is where the interesting stuff is happening, because people are having to go out there and find this stuff for themselves. And if that's what you want to do in a huge galaxy like this, then that's what you do. It's working well, people are finding the stuff and reporting it back. But it's more luck than judgment. One of the questions I asked Malik on one of his streams a while ago, because I don't keep up with a lot of this stuff because I'm not a gamer as such. I do try and play as much as I can, but every time I do play I tend to go online to do it, so I stream it when I'm doing it, but I don't get a lot of chance to do it because I'm a Mobius forum dad, and I'm proud to be a Mobius forum dad. But it does mean that I don't get the chance to interact with quite a lot of the stuff that's going on. So these INRA bases that have been kicking off, there's 10 of those have been found, and I've only really looked at one of them. 2 of them really, if you include Jameson as well. But there are people out there who have got the time and the effort, the time and the inclination to actually go and do all this stuff. But it is very much luck of the draw. You can't plan to find it because Frontier haven't really put clues into the game that are findable enough for the casual gamer to do it. You have to invest lots and lots and lots of time and lots and lots and lots of dedication into this game to find the stuff that is interesting. Open system map.
System cartography.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
Well, CQC was never really killed. CQC is still there. It's just, it was put in there as an, this is my opinion obviously again, it was put in there as an incentive for the console players to want to get involved. So you had your quick fix, Twitch gaming, quick combat arena type game, your first person shooter style multiplayer combat game that would get people into the game and then introduce them to the wider game at large. It didn't need maintenance, it doesn't need pushed, it's not really going to change much. It's up there with all the best kind of things of that kind of genre. It's a slightly different aside to what Elite Dangerous is all about, but it does work for what it is. And it doesn't need a lot of maintenance, it doesn't need a lot of attention, and it is what it is. It could do with some more marketing, some more push behind it, fair enough, I agree with that. But Job done. So, what's a Mobius forum done? I'm actually not entirely sure. Essentially, it's someone, as far as I'm aware, it's just someone who's a casual gamer, doesn't want to do the player v player stuff, wants to play the game and just have a good time, and isn't particularly happy when people try and stop him playing the game the way he wants to play. Somebody that has to be able to go and answer the door or go and change a nappy or that kind of thing. I was called it once a while ago, and then someone explained to me roughly what it was, and I've completely gone forgotten it again. But to be fair, it's something I'm quite proud to be, because I play this game the way I want to play this game, because that's how it was designed to be played. It was designed to be a game that you could pick up and play whenever you wanted to. That's why you have solo mode, that's why you have private groups. You want to play in a group of people that you want to play with, you have that chance to do that. People who want to play in open, if that's their style of playing, they like the massively multiplayer aspect of it, then fine. Yeah, that's right, CQC was console exclusive. I didn't know the forums went into meltdown about it, but CQC was out in the forums first, and as I say, it was there just to get the forum people on board with the game. It was more like a demo to start with, to be honest. Well, that's it. I mean, that's it, Night Bites. I mean, I don't know how often you watch this stream, but there's been several occasions where I've had to pause the stream because I've had to go and do something, whether it be letting the dog out or helping my wife because she's disabled and all that kind of stuff. And that's how life is. And you have to remember that initially this game was aimed at the original Elite players, the ones who were playing games in the 80s, the 1980s. So, oh, well, welcome to the stream then. I recognise your name though, Night Bites. It seems familiar. Maybe I've seen you on somebody else's streams. But yeah, it's how these things tend to work. Everyone has their own way of playing, and Elite was originally pitched at the people who played Elite and wanted to see a sequel to it, and it was done very well for what it is. But it has evolved from that point, and it's now been aimed at everybody. Yeah, I'll have seen you on DJ and Malik streams then. Open Galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Close Galaxy map.
Closing map.
Yeah, so, jump.
Jumping.
So how did I get onto that then? I think I think we were kind of going on about how Frontier have sort of taken this game in a certain direction. The grind is a big part of the game, and it needs to be expanded out. There needs to be a more creative aspect into it, and the narrative is where it's starting to hurt. Because what seems to happen is a single narrative thread seems to be prioritised over everything else. So, for example, when all the power play stuff was kicking off, and what's her name? There was the battle for the Emperor's throne, and there was the thing with the president going on, and the disappearance of the president and all that kind of stuff. That was all the narrative was about. Then there was the Thargoids, then there was Inra, which is tying into the Thargoids, and each time one of these new threads kicks off, it takes over completely. So with all other things, Galnet goes quiet. I mean, the whole thing with the president, the federal president, was it Jemima Halsey or something like that? When she went missing and then got found again, there was a whole bit of narrative in that. And that looked like it was going to be linked into the unknown artifacts and the Thargoids and all that kind of stuff. But where's that gone? That's not been mentioned on Galnet as far as I've seen for a long, long time. So why is she not jumping up and down and screaming about stuff? I've not heard anything from Petraeus for ages. I've not heard anything from other than just Imperial statements about what's going on with the Thargoids. There's been no intrigue about the throne. A woman is on the throne of the Empire for the first time in millennia. In a millennium. Where's all the kickoff about that? So, narrative-wise, I think Frontier are working on limited resources, so they can only have so much in-house time and effort that they can spend on putting storylines together for the game. So they have however many people, I'm going to say one person because that's what it seems like at the moment, putting these stories together, under a lot of pressure. And no matter how good a writer you are, if you're put under pressure to create a narrative or create a story within an X amount of time, you are going to run out of ideas, or you are going to have to come out with whatever you can stick into your head at the time that's going to work. And it might not always be the right thing, it might not always be the most creative thing you can come out with, but you're having to push it out on a deadline, and it will suffer. So time versus quality, basically. And with all that, you've got to keep that one thread going. You've got to keep that one thread alive. You don't have the time or effort. You don't have the lead time to put together an intricate tapestry of what's going to happen with different props and different threads. So it's going to suffer. Lots of the Galnet stuff died when Michael Brooks changed projects. To an extent, I agree with that. Jump.
Charging
Yeah.
frameshift drive.
To an extent, I do agree with that, but I don't think it's just that. I think Frontier has a lot of fingers in a lot of pies at the moment, and I think they have expanded into a big company, and they have said that there's as many people working on Elite now as there was back in the day when it was getting loads and loads of different things going on. But if you want my honest, truthful opinion, given the fact that Elite Dangerous was their only project for a while, and now they have Planet Coaster and Jurassic World as other projects in the background, they haven't
I can
recruited.
scan the system if you wish.
Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand
They
by.
haven't
Gathering
recruited enough
information.
people over
Cartography
the
has
last
now been
couple of
updated.
years to actually justify, to actually be able to say that they will have each person having 100% capacity on that thing. Now I know how development works, and I also know how development companies work, and I have a concern that basically what's happened here. Open system map.
System map.
To work out what I'm looking for. Planet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a ringed water world? Closed system map.
Closing map.
And I think yes, Michael Brooks has moved on, and he potentially has taken some of the prime talent with him. And this is the thing: although people may have moved on and been replaced by other people, there is a potential that what may have happened is those people aren't as experienced, or let's just leave it as experienced, not as experienced at doing this job, at creating content for this game. So one, they will take longer to do it because they need to learn the ropes and pick up the threads as they go, and two, may not create something that is as engaging or as appropriate, not as good as, because it's probably good in its own right, but not as appropriate as what would have gone before. So we have a different team of developers with a different level of expertise and a different priority, and also a different producer with a different take on the situation, working on the project. So there is a bit of a shift in what's happening and what could be happening. The thing is though, Greenskeeper, this whole thing about credit transfers between players, you can't do that. You have to do it via resources, but it is still being done. You can't directly transfer, and I actually disagree. I don't think directly transferring credits between players would be a good thing for the game, because it takes away the entire aspect of the game that is the most engaging part, which is learning how to play, getting things up to speed. That initial grind is important, because that's what Elite was all about, was that initial grind to get that to that place where you could make the choices. I think once you've got to that point, there needs to be something else to do. And the Elite ranking in the original game was what gave you that option. There were certain levels you could get to that would give you different ideas of things to do. So it's all like a learning curve, and then when you get to a certain point, there has to be engagement, and that's what's missing. Is it's so easy to get to Elite in this game. People who grind on it can do Elite in a couple of days, or a couple of weeks, depending on their commitment to the cause. Ooh, a ringed water world, lovely. Some big rings. a screenshot of this, it looks nice. Crying out loud. Drop.
Disengaging crew.
Empty set 0, welcome to the stream. Good evening to you. How are you doing? What's my opinion on PvP? I think PvP is okay if you like it. I'm not a big fan, I'll be honest. In fact, as far as my gaming experience is concerned, PvP isn't a big thing for me. I think I've never been a big fan of multiplayer games. I don't like playing online games or MMORPGs because of the fact that there are always players out there who are better than me. I'll be honest, I don't hold any bones about it. I'm not, as I've just finished saying to everybody, Empty Set 0, I'm not a big gamer. I play games online, I play games as much as I can, but even at that, I only have X amount of time to spend playing games. I have a couple of hours a week tops that I can guarantee, because I set aside that time and I tell everyone fuck off and leave me alone. I'm playing games on a Monday night and you can all bollocks. So my wife's packed off to bed, my son's packed away into his room and locked in there so he's not allowed to get out. He's told he has to do things like letting the dog out and so on, so I can actually interact unfettered with you people. That's how it works. So I don't have all that much time to actually play. Engage Super Cruise.
Preparing for cruise.
Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Second, I'll get back to the chat in a second once I program my next route. Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
I've not plotted that route, have I? That was stupid. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
I've just selected it. Oh no, I have. I've plotted it. That's fine. Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
But yeah, so PvP to me, if I go into open play, there are going to be thousands of players out there who are far, far better than I am at this game. So what would happen is I would be encountered by a player and I'd have my ass kicked within about 3 seconds. So I wouldn't be able to do anything. And I've actually done this earlier on in my gaming career, before I started streaming mostly. And I found that even after a couple of weeks of playing, people were just there that were outclassing me completely. So gaming wasn't fun, because basically what was happening was, every time I left the space station, went into hyperspace, came out into a populated system, some player would come and kill me. Every time. I didn't manage to make one trade run without being attacked by players and my ass kicked. Jump.
Engaging jump.
So PvP, if you like playing the multiplayer aspect, you like having fights against other players that are out there, and you like the idea of interacting with them on purely a combat level, then fine. PvP, not necessarily players banding together in groups and doing stuff, does not appeal to me. Player versus environment, yeah, that's basically it. Get good. I don't have time to get good. This is the see that phrase there, Tuplex. That phrase there is the one that fucks me off the most, because that's one of those cop-out, stupid-ass statements to make. If you want to be an elitist arsehole, an entitled elitist arsehole who just wants everyone to be as good as you are. Well, no, fuck off. I don't have time. I don't have time to invest in doing that because 1, I have a family, 2, I have a fucking life, and 3, my entire life doesn't revolve around playing a stupid fucking game. So no, get good, fuck you. But I mean, the people that say that kind of shit just piss me off. People that say that seriously, they're just little children sitting in their fucking
Orion
basements.
has communications. Midnight.
Shut up.
Minus. Tactical.
Shut up.
Verity. Interaction mode.
Initiating.
And Clio. Education.
Making checks. Pre-launch diagnostics checked. Preparing now.
Power to engines.
Stand by.
Diverting power to engines.
The hell did it think it said? Bloody hell, it thinks I'm trying to launch. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, it's just that mentality, isn't it? It's that elitist fucking child sitting in a basement, or almost adult sitting in his mother's basement with his fucking pants on his head, thinking he's the world's best at everything because he can kick somebody's ass in a game. Piss off. Just piss off.
SRV.
What am I trying to do anyway? Oh yeah. Planets 1 and 2. Scan the system.
Standby scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Open system map.
System cartography.
Close system map.
Closing map.
PvP and ED it does work, Empty Set Zero. I mean, it is there, there's quite a lot of it. If you go into open, there's loads of it. Go to certain places, you can get as much PvP as you like, and there are groups out there. There are PvP groups out there you can find on Facebook and on the forums that you can band with and you can get together with and have lots and lots of PvP play. They will organise events, PvP events and PvP missions. Because as someone said, this is a sandbox game. You make up your own narrative. A lot of us have done missions where we just make up our own mission in our heads and go and do it. So it's like, I want to go and collect all of the rare items and deliver them to this planet because it makes me feel better, or because it gives me as a player, as a character, a reward of some type somewhere. It's just one of those things where, as was done in the original Elite, you make up your own narrative, you make up your own story. Half your story could be in your own head. It doesn't have to be something that's presented to you in game. And that's what I think a lot of players have lost. All these people that are sitting there going, get good, haven't got the imagination to sit there and go, okay, I'm finding this particular thing in the game boring, therefore I will just complain about it all the time on the forums and get all kind of pissy about it. Whereas no, what keeps it going is what goes on in here. This is where your sandbox is. You want to make something of a game, you can only do so much. Call of Duty, you can do player v player, you can do player v environment, or you can sit and play the sandbox modes. You can do anything you want. Even in things like Planet Coaster, which is a restrictive game because it's building a theme park, but they're giving you enough tools in that you can use this and build something special. Rather than just building a theme park, why don't you build whatever you want? Build a village, build a town, build an attraction, build a theme park. Not just a roller coaster, build a theme park with a particular theme to it. Build a lake and then build round it. I built a mountain range in it. I also built a snow dome. I also built an underground park. Stuff like that, and doing things like playing games like this where you have an entire fucking galaxy to play in. Why the hell complain? Do the round robin, do the road to riches, do a circumnavigate the galaxy. Make up a narrative in your own head. Role play the bloody thing. I mean, this brings us full circle back to one of the comments that was being made earlier about where I think the Thargoid narrative was going to go. Now, I covered that pretty thoroughly. If you missed it, you can watch it on YouTube tomorrow. But one of the other things is, I need Planet 2. Open system map.
System map.
Select Wingman 2.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was that one. Where would I like the Thargoid narrative to go? Or where in my head can I imagine it going? Is I want the Thargoid to kick us out of the bubble. I want Colonia to be the new human bubble. Or the pill at this point, because it's not that big. But I want Colonia to be the place where humanity gets kicked out to. So we have to rebuild our species, rebuild our race, and we can't get back into the bubble until we have done a certain amount of stuff. It'll also give Frontier a chance to put together the mechanic for world building, so procedurally generated settlements at a reasonable size. So sort out the planetary landing, and we can have settlements we can build on the planet. It means that we don't have to start off by rendering huge fuck off cities, and it gives Frontier a chance to get that mechanic actually written, but also give us the ability to expand our experience, build our own house on a planet and build our own cities as players. That would be fucking amazing. That would be the point where the players are actually making a difference to the galaxy they're in. Yeah, Tuplex, that's exactly right. It just seems that I've stopped using the forums because the forums just piss me off and make me angry. Because people just go on there and all they want to do is complain. So they complain about one element of it, and they get told, well, do this then. So they go and do that, and they don't like that either. So, well, fucking stop moaning. Pick something to do. If you don't like doing it, pick something else to do. If you don't like doing that, and you can't find anything else you like doing, don't fucking play the game. Go and play Call of Duty, like the single-celled amoeba brain that you are. I'm bordering on ranting. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
So yeah, that would give the players and everybody else the ability to do their own narrative and build their own thing. I mean, you can go do a role-playing game, do an RPG in your own head. My character Selezen was part of the T&Isla Historical Society until he screwed up a mission for that organisation, and it was essentially put on administrative leave, at which point he left and joined the sovereignty. Closed system map.
System cartography.
Closed system map. Closed system map.
Closing map.
Jump.
Charging frameshift drive.
It's a good run. It's a productive run, is it?
Checking all systems.
But it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's what you make it. This sort of game, a sandbox game, an open world game, it's what you make it. It's nothing else. No, roar at the goldfish is not the DJ plan. It's not DJ's. I had this idea long before he started talking about it on his stream. At the very least, we had the idea at the same time. It's not his.
I can scan the system.
I've been
if you
talking about
wish.
this for a while because I've been saying, independently of DJ, before I even started talking to him, that what we need to do is kick this game up a notch and actually break the status quo completely. Because the Empire versus Federation bollocks is cliched. Cliched to hell. We need to get away from that. We need the Federation and the Empire to fuck off out the way. The Alliance maybe to fuck off out of the way as well, or at least be the only thing that potentially could bring us all back together again. And kick us in our chronometers and kick us out of our comfort zone. Change the nature of the game to something that's going to actually engage us and get us working together rather than constantly PvPing. For example, if you want to PvP, you can PvP. If you don't have to PvP. Give the non-PvPers something engaging to do, and kicking us out of the bubble and making us create our own civilization out in Colonia is one good way of doing that. It also means the game can expand and it can evolve. And then once we get back, we could even find that what they've done is destroyed all the civilizations that we had. Kick us out for 2 years, and then they spend that 2 years harvesting our resources, breaking down our cities, leaving everything thingy. Levitation 1? No, I am not. When I play this game, I always play in my own private group. My own private group is called Selezen Lake. Selezen space lake, as in one of those things you can go swimming if you want to die. Jump.
Jumping.
Bandit V1, that's one example of something that's happened to you. But amongst that one example of someone doing something like that, are another 99 examples of people being dickheads. Because I've met and spoke to on various different, in fact on streams, I've spoken to people who would quite happily admit to the fact that they will gank anybody who comes near them.
I can scan the system
Just
if
for
you
the
wish.
sake of doing it. Scan the system.
Completing system scan.
And they
Stand
don't
by.
apologise
Gathering
for it.
information.
They
Cartography
don't
has now
apologise
been
for their
updated.
attitudes. Because it's the way they want to play the
Fine,
game.
I
And
won't
that's
disturb you
the
again.
point of doing an open world sandbox game where you can choose your own destiny. Is that you can play the way you want to play. And people want to play like arseholes. People want to play like nice people. People want to play like the way they want to play. And it's not my place to say that someone playing it as a player v player, ganking pirate, nasty person is wrong, because it's not wrong. That's the thing. Dayball, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're enjoying yourself. How are you? But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and go that I want to play the game my way and everybody else who wants to play it this way is wrong. That's not the case. It's an open game. It's an open world game where everyone's got the right to play it they want to play it. I exercise my right not to play in that method by playing in my private group. So if people want to play in a private group, they can join my private group. And as long as they want to play the way that I want them to play in my private group, that's where I have that entitlement. I can say to them, I want to play non-PvP in my group. If you do PvP in my group, or you gank me for anything, I will kick you out of my private group, because that's my right. But in open, that's exactly what open means. It's fair game. Greenscaper, they're thinking about doing that. There was talk at the Frontier Expo about putting more consequences into the game for people who do that kind of stuff. The report crimes would actually mean more, that you could ask for support against that, and then people would actually be sanctioned for it. I don't exactly know how it's going to work. I don't see any point on get good. Oh, don't scroll things out of the way. Right, I'm going to pause for a second in my travels at this point in time, and I'm going to answer some of the stuff that's been going up in chat, because there's been a few questions being asked that I've missed because I'm too busy chatting.
Loading. Stand by. Ambient.
Here's a speculation alert question. At the moment, we're safe from Thargoid attack when we're in system, due, I assume, to Thargoid's engine technology not working in frameshift mode. Do you think that they will take this technology from us and start instinct? What the flipping heck? Do you think this will take the technology from us and start interdicting us from in-system travel? That's an interesting question. I honestly don't know. Because you're not asking me what the Thargoids will do, you're asking me what Frontier's going to do in terms of narrative for the game, and I've covered that already, that I don't know if Frontier are going to take the Thargoids down a road where they're going to be an interesting villain. Are they going to match our technology, or are they just going to keep upping their own technology to counter our attempts at upping their technology? I don't honestly know what they're going to do. I would like to think that to make them an actual threat, they'd have to do something like that, yeah. They have to do something with them, because the hyperdiction things are very, very few and far between. The way they were talking, they were going to be the big thing that we're going to have to look out for across the galaxy. I mean, I've been doing the Road to Riches, which has gone straight through the Pleiades sector and hasn't generated a hyperdiction yet. So where's that? Where the hell's that gone? That was a missed opportunity as well. So where's all the hyperdictions? Why aren't we getting dragged out of witch space into Thargoid space or into interstellar space to deal with the Thargoids? Why is that not happening? Ridiculous. So I would like to hope that Frontier is going to make that happen at some point. I don't hold out a lot of hope for it though, because if it's part of the narrative they have in mind, go for it. That's that question answered, I hope. Chug? Why? Oh, Moonprayer, right, got ya. I have some pointers on the forums that want to play an open and complain. I've dealt with that. I always compare PvP ED with the sandbox bully destroying the sandcastles of the kids. Basically, a lot of skill and fans build good sandcastles themselves. Yep, definitely agree with that. The DJ panel involved dealt with that already. Apart from the odd popping into a streamer's private group, I play exclusively in open. When in the bubble, I see people at 1% of the time, generally say really near soul. Fair enough. Sorry for typos, I is drunk. Fair enough. Open is not bad, I've dealt with that one. Blah, blah, blah. Still type like carp, that's very funny. I pretty much hate PvP. You get kids with all the best gear and all they do is kill people massively under level and claim they are great. Tiresome. Yep, that is the #1 reason why I hate online play. Why I hate online gaming. And I've hated, not even when I was a child, or at least as much of a child as I could have been when multiplayer gaming came in, I've always hated it. From the first days of things like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and all that kind of stuff. I could never get enough free time because I have my own projects that I was, even before I got married, I had stuff I was doing. I was always writing or drawing or mucking about with 3D stuff or learning something or writing little programs and shit like that. I used to always keep myself busy, and gaming was one of the things I always tried to get into. I mean, I bought a PlayStation 2 to try and gamed for 6 weeks, left it in a cupboard, went back to doing computer stuff. 6 months later went back to doing console. I kind of flip between different things that keep my mind, and I'm very, very flighty as far as my hobbies and interests are concerned. Elite is the one thing that has kept me on a straight line through my entire life. I've always come back to at some point and never really left. Really. So yeah, that I've always hated online gaming because you never get a balanced area where you can be with people of the same approximate experience level. CQC tries to match people up the same rough level, but doesn't always manage it particularly well. Especially when people who are really experienced players just dump themselves back down to a new player, then you've got no chance at that point. So I've dealt with that one. I'm not sure if Hammers to be able to tell if Slower will be attacked by Thargoids. There's so much debris floating around. You people need to get some control of yourselves, I'm afraid. My marriage to open ended when I got killed 3 times in a day by PvPers and combat logs when I was returning in favour. Yep. I'm only playing open and only get my butt handed when doing CGs in open, that's alright. Fair enough, that's the way you want to play. That's the way you want to play. Desperate needs an open PvE mod. It's not normal that people who want non-violent player interactions have to hide in private, group or solo. I understand where you're going with that. Let me check here. Well, 2 players.
Coming up.
Shut up. I'm not getting any skip frames at the moment. My connection so far has been spot on. So yeah, it must be something either to do with Twitch or at your end. Bifford's around again. No doubt he's going to whinge about something. I would expect nothing less. Yes, it's a great idea. I mean, Funkybot, I think that's a great thing to do. It would be a technological nightmare for Frontier, given the way they've actually got everything set up. Because of the way that the peer-to-peer idea works, it'd be difficult to try and get instancing working properly in that environment. They would have to have a different instancing method or a different server, depending on how it works, or a different root node for it to work properly, and it could unbalance the player base as well. So I don't think they want to do that. I don't think they want to separate things out like that, and that's why they had an option of doing it that way or doing it the way they've done it. So doing it the peer-to-peer open groups solo mode was one way of doing it, and that's the way they've decided to go because it was more customizable for individual players and kept all the Mobius forum dads happy. Whereas doing it the PvP or PvE environment was doing it the same way that EverQuest did it, and that would more or less require a central server to control the instancing, which is what they've tried to move away from, because that would mean having to either lease or purchase dedicated servers to handle that load, which could be less stable, believe it or not. That's my limited knowledge of technical gaming stuff. Funkybot, yeah. Hello Bifford, hello. Paul, that's the most enjoyable multiplayers. So my mates and I set up a LAN for our own Doom and Quake. Yep, the most enjoyable time I've had was when me and my friend Hugh lived together and set up the Mech Warrior 2 on the LAN. That was more fun than you could have, than anybody else could have with their clothes on. Mech Warrior 2 multiplayer was fantastic. But it worked because we had similar levels of experience with it as well, so... PvP sucks most because engineered super ships that destroy my half-baked ship. Yeah, that's exactly my point. I don't have time to do all the engineering stuff. I don't have the time or the inclination to the grind required to get the bits and pieces to get the stuff to do engineering. It's time wasting to my mind. A lot of buffering, dealt with that. Bifford again. Nah, I'm good. Moving the PC really helps your sound hiss levels. I should bloody well hope so. Enough effort has been put into moving this stuff than I've ever done anything in my life before. I mean, a right bloody mess of it as well. Big hole in the wall that I need to try and put a cover over at some point. Not against PvP, then it's fairly balanced. It'll be fun. It can be fun. If PvP is the thing that you like and you've got the time and the effort to put into the grind to get things done, then by all means, why not do it? DLY D62. DLY D62. 5 and 4. Open system map.
System cartography.
Foam follower. That's a Thomas Covenant reference. Closed system map.
Closing map.
Right, I'm going to have to try something. This may increase the hiss a bit, but I'm going to have to put the big fan on because I am roasting my bottom off. Just give me 1 second here. See if I can reach. Yes, I can. Very good. More than broke coming out to buy. Oh, you've had to buy a new car. Jeez, I know you were having issues with the car, but not that much. God damn, man. So, all these issues that I've been talking about so far this evening, in terms of the Thargoids and fact of the red novel, that is an issue. Okay, it's a fairly big issue, but it's still an issue. Not wrong. Right. Frontier, narrative-wise, game-wise, development-wise, progress-wise, with Elite Dangerous. We have lots of different... Bifford, I pay attention to you all the time, because you're a very demanding man, but I also pay attention to other people as well. Sometimes things slip away. I provide sympathy, empathy, and feedback, and then it goes out of my head. Otherwise I'd forget how to walk, because I firmly believe that each time you learn something new, something old slips away. So one day I'm going to learn something trivial, like the name of whoever in EastEnders, and I'll forget how to walk. Well, Bifford, feel free to phone me anytime, as long as I'm not streaming or at work. Now I'll go there, fuck off. I had to pay 5k to get my bike, for fuck's sake. See, this is why I'm glad I've got a mobility car, or why I'm glad my wife's got a mobility car. I don't have to pay shit for it. It's the one benefit that being disabled actually gives you. One benefit. And believe me, it's not worth the rest of it, but it is a benefit. It is something that, because owning a car is a hell of a big responsibility and a hell of a big pain in the arse. But having a car and mobility takes all the stress away from owning a car. And quite frankly, if I could remove my hip or have some kind of painless disability that would mean I could have my own right to have a mobility car, I would do it. If I could find some way that my wife could be disabled without being in endless pain, I would do that, so that we could have a mobility car but still have a wife who isn't in constant pain. There you go. Not going to happen, really, is it? So anyway, so what I was saying, I was going to mention this, and things have happened this week. A lot of stuff has gone on in the forums and on Twitter and on Twitch and on everywhere. There's been streams that have touched on these things, YouTube videos that have touched on these things about ED, Elite Dangerous, and the stuff that happens in it, the stuff that happens around it, the stuff that needs to happen with it, the opinion of it, the development of it, the progress for it, and everything else that goes with it. And it's getting to the point where it's quite controversial. There's a lot of stuff going on. Fox Newland Spiegel, thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you're well. But yeah, people have been there's been a lot of people who have been very, very hardcore Elite fans who are taking a break from it now, or have stopped playing it, or have moved away from Elite, or have done a lot of or have started making statements about it that are less than glowingly positive. And this is true for a lot of the long time fans and the people who've put a lot of content online about it. And I'm not really going to say any names. I don't really want to say too many names, but I haven't researched or gone to verify some of these claims. I have heard that Obsidian Ant has started saying a few things that are quite disparaging towards Elite Dangerous. If this is true, it's a bit of a surprise to me, because he's always been very positive about the game and always very much in with Frontier. So obviously they get on well, they have a lot of feedback between each other. He's featured quite a lot in the newsletter, and he speaks about them. Obviously he plays their game and talks about it a lot, and has devoted an entire channel to it. DJ Truthsayer as well has always been a big proponent of ED, and he has always been very keen on the lore, very keen on the storylines, very keen on the narrative. And I get the feeling at the moment that even he's starting to feel, well, it's not as robust as potentially it could be. The defeat of the Basilisk was the last thing I really saw him do that I felt he had some kind of invested interest in doing with it, and then since then he hasn't been that keen on playing it. But I don't think that's really part of why he hasn't played it in particular. Is because he has a very different online streaming tactic to most of the people that I know. In which case, he plays games that he finds interesting. He plays games that he can talk about, that have got new updates, or that he has interest in, that can go through. So he plays a lot of different things. Primarily, he's an ED player, and primarily he has gone for this kind of narrative ideas, with the Imperial Inquisition doing the things that they were doing and pushing them towards being a player faction. The Sovereignty again being a player faction. And this is where a lot of the people who are streaming or who are doing content are tending to try and do these days, is try to create a narrative for their streams. But I think people are finding it increasingly difficult from what I've seen so far. Good evening, kitten. Feed the cat.
Yes, Commander.
So it's just one of those things where I don't know where it's going, but the problem is the fan base at the moment is where a lot of these issues lie. The fan base are starting to say what's going on with this stuff, and they are starting to see a hell of a lot of stuff happening in the communities, the streaming communities, the online communities, Reddit, all that kind of stuff, and they're making their own mind up about it and are using some of that stuff to further their own opinions. And it came to a bit of a head this week, and I did want to specifically point this out, because this is just indicative of some of the odd things that tend to happen. Let's just pop that on. So someone posted this in reference to DJ Truthsayer himself. When a massively known Twitch live streamer that is in your own camp, obviously alongside others in the community trying to keep players interested in the slow-paced content rollout snooze fest, stops playing ED to play Stellaris and this war of mine, I wonder why. This means that devs need to ask themselves why, and then put the pedal to the proverbial metal and get some content rolled out before players put the game on the digital shelf for 6 to 12 months. Give players something to do beyond these little CGs that trickle out narrative at a snail's pace. You held an event to show off content coming, content that people have waited months and months for and they want now, not in a year. Now this is the bizarre thing. that's odd. I mean, that's somebody who's obviously in the Sovereignty who has posted that information up, on and quoted, or not quoted as such, but referenced DJ's stream. Now, I was on that stream with DJ. Now, DJ wasn't streaming Stellaris in this War of Mine because Elite Dangerous was shit. He was broadcasting those games because, one, Stellaris had a major update, and he likes that game, and he wanted to highlight the fact that it had gone through a major paradigm shift in the way it's actually played. And this War of Mine is just something that he played because it was an interesting, different genre and a different take on your average kind of build up resources game. I've got both games myself because they look very interesting to me, but But DJ and me and anyone else that I'm aware of at this point in time reserve the right to play any game we fucking like, and for whatever reason we fucking like. DJ is not playing Stellaris in this War of Mine because Elite Dangerous is shit, or because his narrative's slowed to a crawl. He's playing it because it's a game he wants to play. Now remember that DJ's streams tend to be more podcasty than anything else, so I really don't understand where this has come from. But what it highlights is the underlying feeling of the community that this is this is the state of the game. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, I'm completely with DJ in the fact that this is wrong. That what that person has done is completely wrong. Taking something that a streamer has done or a person online has done and interpret it the way they want to interpret it. That's not right. That's not right at all. Game capture full screen. The image. What's gaming stream? That's tunable. It's not really there. Everything's taken out of context, and that's the thing. This is the worry about this kind of situation, is that there's bad feeling out there for what Frontier are doing or what they're not doing, and people are taking any option that they can find to just grab any bit of information they can get and take it out of context and use it to further their own goals. That's bollocks. That is shite. That is wrong, and especially doing it without that person's consent as well. Without saying at least, excuse me, I know you did this, I know you did that, do you mind if I say this about it? And giving them a chance to say, well, no, because that's not what I fucking meant. That's not what I did. That's bad journalism at the start, if you're a journalist. And it's just bad. If this guy's part of the community that DJ has built up, like the Sovereignty, and he's done this, then I'll be amazed if he's still in it. If he was in my player group or in my player group, in the game player group rather than player group, like group. I don't know.
Confirmed.
Then he'd be out in his fucking ass. No two ways about it, Sonny Jim. Open system map.
System map.
4 and 5. Closed system map.
Closing map.
Yes, Bandit B1, that is very true. Yeah. I wouldn't say that in front of the wife though. So yeah, that's... Watched one of Obsidian Art streams about Star Citizen. Star Citizen... Oh god, that's a kind of worms. I don't talk about Star Citizen much because I'm disappointed with Star Citizen in different ways than I am with ED. ED needs to move forward. In my opinion, like, put cards on the table. I want planetary landings. I want atmospheric planetary landings. I also want getting out your ship. That's the two things about this game that were promised in the Kickstarter that I want. I mean, there's a plugin for Unity that gives you seamless planetary landings on any environment. That's a plugin for Unity. A plugin made by a third party, an individual developing third party. So why the hell can't we do it in this game? Star Citizen has seamless planetary landings on atmospheric worlds. Which voice actor pack am I using? I am using the all-in-one pack by God, someone whose name I can never remember. Just give me a sec. It's called Elite Multicrew by Commander The Thing Is. It basically comes as part of the newer voice packs, as part of the actual package. So, yes, Garzini, this is because it can hear me properly. Now that I've moved the computer out of the room, there's no roaring, windy noises in the background for it to get distracted by. So it's now back to roughly the volume levels and the background noise levels that were there before I switched the office around. I've done that. It's time to leave now, isn't it? I should have 2 on there. Yeah, done. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
Planets on ED are pretty much seamless now. Yeah, non-atmospheric, so barren planets we can land on seamlessly. But we need that for atmospheric planets and water worlds and all the rest of the stuff that's out there. But I get the feeling we're not going to get that because that would mean we could land on Sol, and they can't render Sol yet. But as I said, I've said it before, I think what we need to do is what they need to do is bring out the potential to land on atmospheric or water world planets. Where there's no civilizations there, where there's no life. I don't think it's that hard to do. Anyway, question for you: my in-game spoken text stutters a bit. Any thoughts how to solve? What's your in-game spoken text? That could be your audio drivers, or it could be your DirectX drivers. Make sure you've got the latest version of DirectX on. Make sure you've got the latest drivers for your sound technology and your video technology. It's usually driver when you're stuttering like that. It could also be a memory issue. Lack of memory. Jump.
Engaging jump drive.
The usual culprits, really. If you're running the game, it might be worth seeing if you can reduce the quality settings as well. Server, if it were totally seamless, it could be. I think it might be. I don't know though. I'm not 100% sure that would be correct because you still have the instancing thing. It's not so much the instancing. It's more to do with the generation of items and resources in that area. So basically generating the amount of rocks and stuff and the different resources and materials that might be lying around, any ships that could be there, like non-player character ships, bases, content, that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily just instancing, it's about procedurally generating the content of that area. So I think if you're running on a server, I think you'd still have the same problem, to be honest. The instancing would be handled by a different server. Jump.
Preparing for jump.
Lost my lid. Oh, there it is.
I don't know how to explain that to you, really. No, really, I just don't know. Jazz?
Shut up.
Relax.
I'm not bothered by the planetary approach. No, that's fair enough. As I say, some people want certain things, some people don't. Me, the reason I wanted this game to come out and be done was because I wanted to see the planetary landings we had in for Frontier First Encounters do that properly. Fully rendered, photorealistic. The server do all that though. Well, the server would do it, but it still has to send that data to the computer. It still has to send that information to your graphics rendering machine to actually populate that content. And all that would still take some amount of time. Scan the system.
Completing system scan. Stand by. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Open system map.
System cartography.
Planet 5. I assume it's that one. Without count. 3, well, 6 actually. Huh. Huh. Close system map.
Closing map.
Got a hell of a lot of messages on this thing. Star Citizen's 5 FPS, God's sake. That's what I was talking about. Star Citizen to me is a missed opportunity because it's dragged on for so long and so long and so long. So much money being sunk into it, it's unreal. And I think they've got themselves into a position now where it doesn't really matter what they bring out as a finished product. It's not going to be worth the development time. So I think they've written themselves into a bit of a corner there. And the whole concept of having real money transactions to buy resources in the game, it's ridiculous, especially at the prices they're charging for it. I mean, that is pay to win. Honestly, pay to win. I can't afford to spend £1,000, £1,000 to buy a spaceship in a computer game. I can barely afford to pay 30 quid to buy a fucking computer game. If I went to my wife and says, "Oh, I'm just going to spend £1,000 this month on buying a spaceship for Star Citizen," she'd kill me. She wouldn't even divorce me. She'd just kill me right away. She'd get a big stick and shove it through my neck.
Defense mode. Deploying chaff.
What the hell? Open system map.
System map.
I mean, I don't know, how many millions are they up to now in this game? Closed system map.
Closing map.
I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, every other year it's like, oh, we need more money to continue this development. Well, no, you fucking don't. Just bring out the fucking game. I mean, I got a free copy of it because I bought Melsh87, thank you for the raid. How about some cheese? Is it stinky cheese? Feed the cat.
Yes, Commander.
Welcome everyone, welcome to my stream, and thank you for popping in. I am honoured to have you here. It's a pleasure to host you all. That just sounds rude though, actually. And Melch87, thank you for the follow. What brings you people here today? Yours is a name I have not heard before, but I appreciate the fact that you've popped in on the off chance to see what this stream's like. It's very much appreciated. I hope you enjoy yourselves. First time here. I'm fine, thank you, sir. Fine, thank you. We're doing a bit of exploration, bit of road to riches, trying to grab some cheap, easy money. And talking about the state of gaming and the state, just general chatting about shit. You've caught us right in the middle of a rant about Star Citizen and how much money gets piled into it and how much money we're expected to hand them over just to get some electronic pixels. It's just ridiculous. We've covered many things this evening, from frontier storytelling to exploration to grinding to PvP to being Mobius forum dads and to being killed by our spouses. Shut up. Being killed by our I've done it again. Spouses for buying spaceships in a game. Kryptonic, thank you for the follow. I don't know if I'm still part of SOV since I'm back from a 4-month hiatus. To be honest with you, mate, once you're in for life. You never leave. You'll never leave. You're one of us now. Whee! But I am your one-stop shop for lore, as long as you don't mind me not knowing much about Elite Dangerous lore as it progresses far beyond my ability to keep up with. Although I must admit at the minute, to be fair, can't actually say that there's been a lot of development in the lore. Like, oh, Thargoids are here. Oh, 3 months later, oh, Thargoids are still here. There's an application for me to fill in, Biff. You also need to stream. You haven't really streamed Elite Dangerous yet, so it's the Sovereignty is kind of a. It's more of a kind of streaming community or a kind of engaged Discord live chat community thing. So they'll let you off that easy. Nah, you never leave. You're stuck. Stuck with us now. Yeah, join the Discord, Bifford. That might be a good place to start. Or, to be honest with you, one way to actually start getting into it is to start joining in with DJ's streams. So when DJ is online, pop on a stream, and he'll probably put a link to the TeamSpeak in there as well. So just join in the TeamSpeak a few nights, contribute to that, and you never know where it might lead. Right, let's just mark these as done. Paste, paste. Where am I? 73, so I've done that one. So I'm now here. D60. Copy. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Yeah, well.
Super Cruise drive disengaging.
Closed system map.
System cartography.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
Wait a minute. Open system map.
System map.
Closed system map.
Closing map.
You've been fed. Fuck off. Hopefully his arguments have turned me off a bit. There's been a few things going on, sort of within the Sovereignty and without the Sovereignty, that have kind of got him a little bit tense. But it's just these things. It's up and down with DJ. If you like his sort of stuff, then you like his sort of stuff, and you'll like it no matter what. But there see, the thing is, I think the world of DJ, right? I don't particularly do his kind of podcasting sort of cast of millions online chatting at the same time thing, because it can be quite chaotic and I don't like it much. So I tend to try, I prefer a stream to be about sort of me talking to you guys, because it's my chance to interact with you on a personal level and get to know you, and you get to know me, and we have a chat, we have some fun. But if you end up with lots and lots of people all on at the same time, I don't think it's as enjoyable, because it's more difficult to keep track of, and then different people can't get their voices heard, and it's difficult for people, and then you have people talking over each other all the time, so you can't really keep up with it. Random thought regarding cheese. Good lord, you people are strange. Maniac Psycho, thank you for the follow. A pleasure to see you, sir. Or madam.
Lights on.
I suppose insanity's non-sexist. I would like to say that I've just checked something. I just wondered there why not really anything really, but I just wondered now and again on especially on nights like this when people are popping in from other streams, like how we're doing on the community site, on the community page that says featured streamers and community streams and all that kind of stuff. And I am glad and happy and proud to say that I'm actually top of the list tonight. So thank you guys for watching, thank you for making me top of the list, thank you for putting me up there. Obviously exposure is great, follows are great, it's my aim to try and keep my people up, my list of people above 75, so I can try and get partnership at some point. So I'm going through the checklist of stuff to do at the minute, and I'm hoping we can get there. With your help we can. Open galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Close galaxy map.
Why are we so thick? Jazz?
Galaxy. A large
Shut
grouping
up.
of stars.
Close galaxy map.
Closing map.
Jump. Jump.
Engaging jump.
Scan the system if you wish.
Scan the system.
Stand by, scanning now. Compiling data. Cartography update complete.
Open galaxy map. No, no, please don't. Open system map. Open system map.
System cartography.
4 and 5. Oh, that's good. They're hovering around each other. That's always good. Close system map.
Closing map.
Oh, a Twitter shout out as well. Oh, thanks, dude. You're a lovely person. You can come back. You can definitely come back. But thank you for the follow, thank you for the host, and thank you for the shout out, mate. Take care of yourself. Have a good evening. So we'll continue whinging about Star Citizen, or will I move on to something else? No, I think Star Citizen had so much potential, but I think there's just so much expectation now on it. I don't think it'll ever manage to meet that level of
I'm here.
demand now. It's a shame because I think it's. See, I fucking hate it. It's just one of those
Afterburners.
things. Go away, Dark. It's just one of those things where I really can't vocalise what I'm trying to say about it. I wish it had been better than it is. I just wish they'd moved it forward to some degree. I mean, all the demos they've done of it and all the things they've showed people of it, it looks amazing. I mean, the stuff they've shown about the planetary landings and the seamless transitions and everything else just make it look thoroughly astounding, but they just haven't glued anything together with it properly. So their in-house demos that they can run themselves on their beastly machines look absolutely stunning, but you try and run anything like a third of it, the actual live alphas or betas, and they run like bloody dogs. I mean, I can run Elite Dangerous on my fairly middling PC without any problems, but I try and do anything in Star Citizen and it just grinds to a halt and my PC's burning its socks off. SC's done a great job of extracting money from people. Yeah, that's what I mean. I was saying that earlier, it's a money pit. All they've really done is created something that they can just keep piling money into. What they need to do, and I'm sorry to say this, but they need to get Chris Roberts away from it. They need to just put him into a corner, put a box round him, and leave him there, and let him have his little ideas and his ideas for fettling away from the actual development path, and get the bloody thing out. But I just think at the minute it's an over-specced, over-bloated piece of shit that essentially isn't going to run properly on anybody's PC. Open Galaxy map.
Stellar cartography.
Because it's just over-specced, it's just over-bloated. They just keep piling more and more stuff into it. Because Chris has all these weird and wonderful ideas and just won't let it go. And he's going to just fettle with it for the next decade, and it's going to end up being was it Battle Cruiser 3000? Close Galaxy map.
Closing map.
Yeah, I mean, it's turning into that already. I mean, Battlecruiser 3000 was a really good concept for a game, and okay, it wasn't a huge development team, and it didn't pile any money into it. This is the thing; it wasn't a money sink, but the guy got it out, and it was fairly good. It was never going to live up to the hype. It was never going to be what everyone thought it was going to be, because it had been too long in development and had too much written about it. A bit like Elite Encounters, actually. And then it's just and Star Citizen's going down the same way. Lots and lots of great news reports, lots and lots of great features, lots and lots of great images, but no gameplay, no releases, no actual content. Jump.
Jumping.
See, No Man's Sky is the other end, isn't it? It was brought out with not enough polish. Where Star Citizen's going to be all polished, no game, in a bankrupt world to play it. But again, I can't get past the play to win model. I mean, the whole combat and travelling around in the galaxy thing, if it goes the way it's going to go, given how much money's been spent on beefing up your ship, yeah, if you've not got thousands of pounds to plough into this, then you're not going to be getting anything at all, and you're going to get blown out of the sky as soon as you go into it. So what's the point? Casual gamers are going to hate it. Scan the system.
Completing system scan, standby. Gathering information. Cartography has now been updated.
Anyway, we're coming to the end of the stream now. It's nearly 10 o'clock. So usually what I do at 10 o'clock is I sort of scan the last system that I'm going to scan, which will be planets 10 and 9. Open system map.
System cartography.
And then I'll find somewhere to land, which looks like it's not going to be a problem today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go there first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 10. Close system map.
Closing map.
And then we call it a night. And at which point we will hand over to young DJ Truthsayer. So I'll be raiding you all onto his stream once we complete anything here. So Paul Archer, yes, I completely agree. I'm not sure where it's going to go, to the point where when it comes out, am I going to play it? Am I going to do anything with it? Blah. Great Britain 22%, but Ireland, Scotland, Wales 17%. So Great Britain's not Ireland, Scotland and Wales. Huh? Huh? That means that at some point along your ancestral line, Bifford, your ancestor's village was pillaged and potentially raped as well. Open system map.
System map.
Garcini, I said that a little while ago. I think I am the top streamer at the moment. Or at least I was last time I checked, about 5 minutes ago. Let's have a look again. It's still saying I've got 83. I know it takes a while to catch up actually sometimes. Add new bookmark. Pop that on there.
Fighters.
Sure, save. That one. Close system map.
Closing map.
It's a very tightly knit system. Oh, they're on the line. Look at that. I'm surprised that there's not at least 10% troll in there, Biff. Open system map.
System cartography.
Right, that's this planet scan. So I'm now going to head on and land. Nope, wrong planet. I always try and go closer to the sun because it's always fun to land on them. Closed system map.
Closing map. It's a rock, it's not even a bloody planet, look at it. It's tiny. That's going far too fast to land on. Target. Locking onto target.
Open system map.
System map.
Let's go for that one. Close system map.
Closing map.
This is actually quite an interesting system, given that everything's so close together. I was thinking that Garzini, she's been quite loud. Right, let's try this one then. I second that, Garzini. It's been an awesome night. I thank everyone for popping in tonight and for staying around and for listening to me rant. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Your company has been amazing. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for all the interaction. That's what makes this stream worth doing. It's why I do it. I love me some Elite Dangerous. I love me some Elite Dangerous information and questions and factoids and some lore now and again. But more than anything else, I enjoy the interaction and the enthusiasm that you guys show. It's always a pleasure to host that kind of stream. And thank you, Paul. It's very kind of you. Groovy. I'll ditch it in the crater. Did this the other night and it was pitch black. Lobster King, thank you for the follow. I don't know why I've gone Jamaica. Do you know what? I don't want to land in the crater now. Too dark, I'm scared. Could be monsters down there. Look at it, it's dark.
Awaiting orders.
Oh!
Stand by.
What's he doing?
Securing the ship.
BM7150, thank you for the follow, very much appreciated. How are you this evening? I hope you're well. Breathe. Thank you very much, FunkyBot. The same back at you. It's always good to hear some other points of view rather than my own. And it's good when new people come on and have their opinions as well, because it means I'm getting a more rounded opinion of what other people think about the game rather than just my isolated kind of opinions on what's going on. So it's always good to know that there are diverse opinions around there. Although I must admit, I've not really heard much in the way of positivity again tonight from most people, but just a lot of kind of questions and answers, which again is a bit of an indication that in some of the aspects where I've got issues with the game and the way it's going, other people are kind of feeling the same way. So it's good to know that it's not just me feeling those things, that there is a bit of an acknowledged view on that. Deploy landing gear.
Landing modules deployed.
Big change from the black and white things. Well, it's one thing, I'm never black and white. I try and be objective as much as I can be. Good night, team in prayer. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll stop by again sometime if you have had fun. It's alright, no problem. Lurkers are half the fun. I'm trying to get as close to the edge of this as I can. That'll do. I think that'll do right there. Tend to be more focused on the bad stuff as well as the good stuff. Yeah, but it's interesting because a lot of people have different opinions on what the bad stuff actually is, or even how bad it is. I mean, I don't necessarily see the lack of narrative as such as being wholly bad. I mean, yes, it's not what we expected, and Frontier are trying to do something, but it's not entirely working the way you'd expect a narrative in a game like this to go. But I don't necessarily see a game having no narrative has been a bad thing, because it's always, Elite has always been a sandbox to me. Elite has always been one of those things where you put more of yourself into it and you get more out of it. So whatever else comes up, it's just one of those things, isn't it? So traditionally we do a screenshot. Thank you very much. I am hoping that it's going to come at some point. It just might be a long road. But like the road to riches, really. Elite is not in any way a sandbox. Well, what makes you say that? That's a very interesting opinion. Commander Funkybot, thank you for the follow. Go out 25k light years and see what you can do. Yeah, you can explore, you can land on planets, you can take screenshots, you can imagine what you can do out there. As I said, what is in here feeds what's on the screen. So a sandbox, by its very imagination, is a box of sand. By its very definition, is a box of sand that you sit in and you build things in. And it's up to your mind to build something with that sand. That's what a sandbox game is. Elite Dangerous is a sandbox game. You go 25k light years out, you have things you can do. You can mine, you can get materials, you can go and drive around in your SRV, you can land on the planet and scan it, you can fly around it, you can circumnavigate it if you want, but you make it up. It's not constrained to what the game tells you to do. You tell the game what to do. So build an outpost there. Why? That's not what the game can do. That will come. There is a framework to do. There is a framework there that will build upon that framework to do other things like that in the future potentially, if that's what the media, if that's what the game needs. But again, okay, it's a sandbox. You're still limited. But you can say that in any game. It's a space exploration, space trading game. It's a space game, a space flight simulator, a space flight trade. Fight, build, well, not build, you can't build in it. Fight, trade, explore, mine, fight again.
Fighters.
That's what it is. That's what it does. It's not like you're going to go into Call of Duty and try and fly a spaceship, is it? Or go into Planet Coaster and try and build a working dinosaur, is it? It's its genre, it's its environment. It's a sandbox game in its own genre. At the moment it doesn't have building. It may have that in a future build, we don't know. You can't do the stuff you mentioned in 99.999% of the universe. What? You can explore the entire universe. You can trade in the bubble, so fair enough. You can find combat wherever you want to go, because people will follow you in PvP. If you want elements of the game, then you stay in a certain area. You go where the part of the game that you want is. If you want to trade, stay in the bubble. If you want to fight, stay in the bubble. If you want to explore, go 25k light years out. If you want to mine, you can go anywhere you like and do that. So when the British came to America, they just troll.
Exiting now.
You obviously want an argument, mate. So if you want an argument, you're not going to get one because I'm going now. Essentially, you get out the game what you put in. If you don't like it, don't play it. If you don't think it's a good game, don't play it. If you don't think it does what you want it to do, don't play it. As I said, it's entirely up to you. You get into it. Sorry, you get out of it what you put into it. Not your kind of game. Go and play Call of Duty. You want to build outposts? Go and play Fallout 4. Well, I think it is a sandbox. It's a sandbox in a particular genre that lets you do pretty much whatever you want to do within a certain amount of constraints. A sandbox is 2 feet wide. You can't build a house in a sandbox 2 feet wide. The analogy stands. Okie doke. Right, on that note, turn the music off if I bloody well can. And we shall call it a night. So thank you everyone for watching, even Cruiser 71. Take care of yourselves, and I hope if you've enjoyed yourselves, then please follow if you haven't already. If you like the stream, please feel free to donate or anything else you want to do. Follow me on Twitter. All the different URLs for stuff will come up at the end of the stream, and this stream will go on YouTube by tomorrow. I'll probably do it tonight if I remember. Part of the admin stuff I do at the end of the night is putting this on YouTube. So yes, it should all be sorted out by then. Any questions or comments, then by all means make them on the Twitch or on the YouTube, whatever you want to do. Twitch comments or YouTube or anything. So take care of yourselves, and again, thanks to everyone who's raided tonight. Take care of yourselves and have a good week. All the best. How'd you turn it off then? I do this every time I do that.